Hello, my friends. Today I'm going to be talking about goals that move you. And I started this topic previously, so if you listen to that live, I'm sorry, I'm going to be sharing just some of the introduction that will be repetitive. Um, but stick with me because I'm going to do the full version. Last time I didn't have enough time. So this is going to be the full content around goals that move you. If you're tuning into this for the first time, welcome. Um, this is I've been really excited about this. It's been really motivating to me. I've been exploring this idea. This one, like so many that I often talk about, are things that um, I kind of circle around to and am reminded of through just my own experience and find and refine ways to really help me live abundantly despite the impact of physical limitation, in my case, rheumatoid arthritis, um, and also the impact of having a child that was born deaf. And um, so today we're going to talk about long term vision and short term goals. And by the end of this live, um, you'll have three strategies, each um, with a few questions that will help you evaluate what is your long term vision, what is your short term goal, and to determine whether or not that goal is really moving you toward that vision. Um, and when I talk about goal, you can also think of it in terms of just focus, um, where your attention is, whatever thing you're focused on. I want you to think about, like, include that in the definition of goal here. I think goals can be defined in so many ways and what makes an effective goal and non-effective goal. I'm going to speak about it pretty broadly today. And so it can be a very specific, um, time-bound goal, or it can be simply defined as where you focus your energy. Okay? Um, because what I have found recently is my attention was going toward a goal, an idea, a thing that was actually working against me. Um, so I'm going to share a little bit more about that, and then I'll walk through these three strategies that will help you set goals that move you. And what do I mean by moving you? Let me just address that real quickly. I mean physically, but not just physically, not just taking action towards something, but also emotionally. What is a goal that moves you emotionally? Another word for emotionally that you can consider, if this might resonate more, or maybe it doesn't, but energetically. Goals that move you energetically. I actually just looked this up um, briefly. General definition for the word energetically is doing something in a manner showing or involving great activity or vitality. So it gives the example in a sentence of someone who, like a couple who were dancing energetically. And I actually like that little imagery of dancing. Um, you can imagine a dance that is without energy or vitality versus a dance that has those things, right? Um, so think about your day-to-day living and to what extent your focus or your goal is creating vitality in you, this energy in you that is moving. It's like, I'm going somewhere. I'm feeling awesome. um, keep in mind, however, um, that awesome feeling is going to be maybe half of the time. All right. If you listened to me before, um, there's this concept called 50-50. And so What that means is that we're fully embracing and accepting that we get the full range of emotion in our life. We get the positive emotion and the negative. It's all going to be there all the time. And 50-50 means half the time it's positive, half the time it's negative. It doesn't mean it's always just a perfect split in half. Um, but it's just the idea or the concept that it is human. It is absolutely um, normal to experience the range of emotion. In fact, I think that's so much of the reason we are alive. That's what it means to be alive, is to experience the full range of emotion. So don't mistake what I'm saying here when I talk about goals that move you energetically, meaning that you'll always feel vitality. You won't always feel that. Still going to have the negative 50. But when you're experiencing the positive emotion, the times that you're experiencing positive emotion are is that emotion coming from an a focus or a goal that is giving you life, a goal that is um, lifting you, expanding you, making you feel more alive. That is the question. Okay. So we're talking about goals that move you physically into action, or energetically, or emotionally, right? Um, so I'll share a quick story. Let me talk about how this has been showing up and what I noticed recently that um, really inspired me to talk more about this today. I have a vision, a long-term vision or goal to move well for a long time. If you've listened to me before, I've talked about how I am going to live beyond 100 years. I've decided it. It's going to happen. Um, is it really going to happen? I don't know. But in my mind, I have chosen just to decide that that's going to be the case. And it's going to be a beautiful 100 years. Some of you might be like, oh my word, you are so naive and ignorant. You just wait. You're going to get to 70 and you're going to start falling apart. And you're going to be crushed and disappointed, especially if you're thinking you're going to live beyond 100 and live well beyond 100. Oh man, you're fooling yourself. Um, Fine. You can think that, and everyone can think that, and that's okay. But this is actually a little bit related to what I'm talking about today, which is this goal. What I mean by goal, I'm talking about short-term goals. That's really the focus of today's topic, but this also relates to long-term vision. What is a vision long term that energizes you? So I'm just bringing up one vision that I have, which is living beyond 100. When I imagine that, and I have this long-term vision of living beyond 100 years old and living well, moving well beyond 100, I am lit up. I am like, let's go. Yes, that's amazing. I have so much to live for. I have so much reason to take care of my body and my mind right now because I'm going to be in this body and in this life for more than 100 years, and it's going to be incredible. Okay, so that's the long term vision. Now, what about the short term goal? What that means for me is I have all these short-term goals that will, I believe, will help me achieve that long-term vision. So how do I live well beyond 100 and move well? Um, I'm paying attention to physical health, like sleep, nutrition, exercise, um, mental health, right? And so I'm just going to um, focus for a moment on just one aspect of this, and it has more to do with exercise. Okay? I exercise every day. And through that process and through that experience, I have noticed over the past however many years, I don't even know, that I've been exercising every day, that I get sore quite a lot. I'm pretty much sore all the time. And over the past like 3 months, I've I started to really look at that closer and I'm like, you know what? I don't really like being sore all the time. Can I exercise and have that short-term goal of exercise to achieve my long-term vision without being sore all the time? And I did all kinds of things over the past few months to explore this topic, to really reduce my soreness. And without going into all the detail, in short, I can just say I have failed. I have failed to achieve this short term goal of being less sore. I've made tweaks to my exercise. I'm like, let me do it with less intensity. I've made little adjustments to the exercise structure, um, and the duration, the weight that I'm lifting. And you know what? Despite all those little tweaks, generally I've still been sore. I've had some extent of soreness. And here's the thing. I started focusing on this so much that I lost the sense of enjoyment that I get when I exercise. Not everyone enjoys exercising. I have done it long enough and I have this habit of exercising and I've created a mental model, a mindset that has allowed me to enjoy exercise. I genuinely love it. I look forward to it every day. And when I have focused over the past few months on being less sore, I started to that started to disrupt my joy. I started to get frustrated every day because I'm like, man, I'm sore again. I did it wrong again. Um, and that process, I was willing to let some of that discouragement or disappointment be part of my experience because I was like, hey, I I want to experiment a bit. I want to see if I can be less sore. Ultimately, like I said, I couldn't like get there. It was the other thing I found is with the topic of soreness, uh, it's kind of subjective. Like I couldn't really find an objective measure or this clarity that would be like I've arrived. I've done it. I'm not sore. Like because the other thing that I realize is that I mean every day is a little bit different in the way that our bodies feel, and it's based on so many factors: sleep, nutrition, movement, or lack of movement. What else? Even what's happening in our head, our emotion. That's also impacting our physical experience. And so there's so many variables that's convoluting this concept of soreness, muscle soreness, that it I found that my focus on this was draining me. It was draining me. It was dragging me down. It was something I was chasing that was somewhat subjective that led me to just kind of spin in some confusion. And that's when, after a few weeks or a few months, I just paused and did this evaluation that I'm sharing with you today. I, I was like, wait a minute. I need to take a look at this goal, the short term goal of soreness, and really determine if it is moving me in the direction I want to go. Is it creating the energy I want to be living in every day? Is it contributing to the vision long term? Really? Um, and so that's when I paused and did this evaluation. So you might have some goal. Of course, I shared my example, but this might be very different than what you are experiencing or what you're able to do. And um, your like a vision of living beyond 100 is probably might could be um, not at all something that's motivating you, and you might have a short-term goal that's very different. This example, I just want you to consider what this might be for you: long-term vision or short-term goals, either of those things. What is one long-term vision or short-term goal that you have right now. Whatever it is, feel free to just add that in the comments. If you don't have one, think of one. um, and you can do it, and it doesn't have to be perfectly thought through and decided upon, but you can use this moment to just consider what is a long-term vision. It could be something that you've consciously decided or not. It might just be there and you're not even aware of it. But what is something that you find yourself um, working toward long term? And then the other question is that you can consider is what am I doing short term? What am I doing day to day? And what's behind that? So go ahead and share in the comments long term vision or short term goal. All right. The next question is that vision or is that short term goal moving you? Is it moving you physically into action or is it moving you energetically or emotionally? So here's the 3 strategies. Strategy 1, goal vision evaluation. 2, goal energy check. And 3, action audit. So I'm just going to share a few questions related to each of these. I'm going to go through them relatively quickly. If you'd like them in print or in written form, there's a link that you can add yourself to. Add your email address. The link will take you to a page where you can put your name and email address. I will email this content to you. You'll get these questions written. You don't have to worry about taking notes. I will send these to you. So just go to the link, chandlerlifecoaching.com/more content, and I'll send you these questions. So these are to help you identify long-term vision and short-term goals that move you. All right, so let's talk about the first thing, goal vision evaluation. The starting place here is to get clear on what outcome you want. So the question is, what outcome do I want? What is the ideal? What is the long-term vision? That's question number 1 for goal vision evaluation. I asked you to put that answer into the comments. You don't have to right now, but at some point, you can walk through this activity and spend time on these questions, all right? Second question is, what is a short-term goal that I think will help me achieve that long-term vision? And question 3, how would achieving that goal get me closer to the long-term vision? So really, the strategy here is to get clear on the long-term vision and to align your goals to that. It's really simple, but so often we go about our day-to-day lives and we don't just take a minute to take this to simply identify our long-term vision and evaluate it against our short-term goals and whether our short-term goals are helping us achieve our long-term vision. Strategy 2, goal energy check. Here's some questions to consider for this. When I think about my goal, my short-term goal, how do I feel? In fact, this question can be used in the first step when you're evaluating your long-term vision, which I also mentioned earlier. When you think about your long-term vision, how do you feel? In the example I shared, it's related to how long you're going to live. If you've decided you're going to live to 70, how do you feel when you think about that long-term vision? When you think about that goal of age, how do you feel? Now, when you think about your short-term goal to achieve that vision, how do you feel? What energy is that short-term goal creating? So in this example the story that I shared about soreness, I had this goal, this short-term goal of reducing soreness. And when I did this evaluation, these first two steps, the goal vision evaluation, the first one, it's like for me to live beyond 100, is reducing soreness in the short term necessary? And my answer I arrived at is like, no, that's actually not really relevant to the long term vision. And that allowed me to see so much more clearly and assess the relevance of this short-term goal. I just came across this short-term goal. I was like, hey, maybe I would like to be sore less often. But when I looked at the outcome of this short-term goal from an energy perspective, I asked, hey, how do I feel when I think about this short-term goal? I felt drained. It was draining me. Like I mentioned earlier, it was kind of taking away the joy of my daily exercise. And so then I got to take a step back. I'm like, all right, if this is not really serving me day to day, it's kind of draining me. How important is it? Do I need to keep working at it? And when I compared it to the long term vision, I'm like, oh, it's actually not necessary to achieve my long term vision. So it allowed me to loosen my grip on it. It allowed me to redirect my attention. All right, so that's some of the benefit of this activity and these first two strategies about the vision evaluation and energy check. For the energy check, we're asking, when I think about this vision or I think about this short-term goal, how do I feel? Another question related to this goal energy check is, when I feel the way I feel when I'm thinking about this goal, am I experiencing high energy or low energy? And why? And finally, if this short-term goal is not creating vitality in me, why isn't it? All right, so these are the three questions to help you with the goal energy check. And it just will bring some awareness around your short-term goal and what energy it's creating for you or not creating for you. Finally, action audit. So here's two questions for the action audit. One, if I set this goal, what might I be doing regularly to help me achieve it? And those things that I might be doing regularly, are they what I want? Are they what I want to be doing right now? Why am I not? And then the second and final question for the action audit is, this is if you've already set a goal and you're evaluating it. It's kind of this is more what my situation was in this example. Here's the question. If I have already had a goal for some time, what have I done or not done during that time? And why? For me, when I had this goal of less soreness, I was able to sit down and evaluate my action. I had this goal for a few months, and I was able to look at what did I do or not do when I had this goal. And I was able to see my actions clearly. I was making adjustments. I was changing some of my approach to my exercise. I also was auditing the action in my mind, all the thoughts I was thinking, where my attention was going. And this brought so much awareness to the experience that this short-term goal was creating for me. And so you can use these questions to also increase your awareness of what actions you're taking because of the short-term goal you have set, and whether that short-term goal is really relevant or aligned with the long-term vision. Given the answers to all these questions, now, when you have that added awareness and you have the answers to these questions, you can really ask, is this goal moving me? Is it moving me in the way I want to be moved, physically or energetically? And be honest and real. If you have had a goal and it is not moving you, don't fool yourself. to think that you just need to recommit. This is the problem that so many people run into. It's like, man, I just need to recommit. You don't need to recommit. What you need is an adjustment to your goal. You need a goal, a short-term goal that will move you. That doesn't mean you're changing the long-term vision. You keep the same vision long-term. This is what I want. Long-term, this is what I'm going after. That stays the same. But what you need to be willing to adjust is the short-term focus, the short-term goal. Because whatever you have focused on in the short term, if it has not been moving you toward the long-term vision, if you just think you need to recommit, guess what? You're probably just going to get more lack of movement. You're going to recommit to the thing you've already been experiencing, which is a short-term focus, a short-term goal that is not moving you. You deserve, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. You deserve a focus. You deserve a short-term goal that will lift you, that will move you. I'm having this like imagery around this goal, like this concept of a short-term goal, um, where I think often we have attachment to a certain focus or practice or short-term goal. We get attached to it. It's like, so if I use my example with the soreness thing, I'm like, I kind of, it's easy to get attached to it and be like, I should be able to accomplish this. I should be able to do this. This is still a good thing. Like being less sore is great. And I just want to invite you, I want you to imagine that like, um, even if you think it's worthy or it's good or that you should be able to do it, listen, if it's not moving you, if it's not giving you energy, vitality, if it's not moving you physically into action, question it. You can keep the long-term vision. You can hang on to that outcome and pursue that, especially if it's energizing you, right? If that long-term vision is energizing you, but the short-term goal is not, question that short-term goal. The the short-term goal and the focus that you have in the immediate and the present moment needs to be moving you physically or energetically. So find it. Question what you're focused on in the short term. Find the thing that will move you. All right. That's what I have for you, my friends. I love you. I appreciate you and connecting with you in the community we create together. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and speak to you again next time. Bye, everyone.